Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Building My Freedom Business podcast. And today's guest is Michelle Pontvert. Michelle Pontvert, or Pontvert, I mean, she's going to say it in her own unique French way because Michelle married a French guy, and that's why she got that beautiful surname. But she runs a company and she helps people with their branding and their marketing and their websites. And I'm really, really interested to go deeper into that. But Michelle, as you can introduce yourself to our listeners, can you also share something about your background story? Where have you always been an entrepreneur? Have you worked for other people? How did you end up actually becoming an entrepreneur?
Ooh, so hi, I'm Michelle Pontvert, if you want to
Pontvert.
sound French about it. I originally actually studied to work in film. I was a set decorator as my first career.
Wow.
Yeah, back in LA where I met my husband in film school. I'm Australian originally, so I was already living the expat life. I fell in love with cinema very early on. I always knew I wanted to do something creative with my life. And while I still love that industry, the lifestyle that goes with it of very long 14-hour days, never knowing when your next job is, the instability of it really wasn't sitting right with me as I started to work in the industry. And I saw women with careers that I really admired. I was starting to make friends with and work with people with Oscars and Emmys and this really high bar of what this career could look like for me. And their personal lives weren't something I wanted to. I always knew I wanted to be a very present parent and have a really active family life. So we hit upon a sort of break point. My husband's visa was about to run out, and we decided, rather than coming, back to Australia where I'm from, we decided to move to France, which is where he's from. And I took that opportunity to sort of start again and try and find a career that was going to fit with my idea of a happy life as well. So I worked for a bunch of different companies. I ended up working a lot in their marketing departments. For small businesses, I'm really drawn to working with other women. So I ended up in a lot of female-run businesses for photographers, apartment rentals, all sorts of things. And I kind of kept sneaking my way to playing with their websites and really enjoying that process. It was a really nice pairing of my visual design background and sort of planning, logistics, and strategy, which is actually a huge part of working in film. And it just felt very natural and very comfortable for me. And about 2-3 years ago now, while I was on maternity leave with my son, I was actually let go from my main job. They downsized me while I was on maternity leave. And it was a bit of a turning point. I wasn't particularly happy in that job, but I was banking on that security. And it just sort of was a wake-up call that I needed to take things into my own hands and create a business that was truly going to be supportive of me now being a parent and wanting to do something creative, supportive, working with other women, but also giving me the freedom and flexibility to be really present with my son while he's little and really needed me. So that led me to sort of really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I took a boot camp in user experience design as sort of my way into websites, and then launched my business and have been really focusing on working with women, and now particularly mums who are running their own service-based businesses, and really trying to empower them with easy to use, well-designed, strategically thought through websites that help them convert clients.
Wow. What a journey. Australia, America, and now in the city of love, Paris. Amazing. How, just curious, French is not, as a Dutch person, I had to learn French in the first few years of secondary school. But tell me, how did you do with the language? I mean, after 6 years of being there, how's your French like?
It's good now. The running joke in my family is that we have French as the main language we learn in school in Australia, and I hated it. My dad went to complain to the principal at one point because it was dragging my other subjects down so badly. He complained, and I didn't have to take French, and that was my big victory because I knew I would never need to speak French in my life. Now, this is the big running joke in my family that I then fell in love with, married a Frenchman, and moved to France.
There you are.
So I absolutely hated learning the language in school. I tried to learn at Alliance Française. It's like a French immersion program in the States before we moved, and I just couldn't make it click. And even moving here, it was really challenging. I ended up getting a tutor, and that helped. But honestly, the thing that made the biggest difference was being pregnant here. I was so big and tired, but I didn't care if I got my French wrong. I needed to sit down, or I needed a drink of water. And it did wonders for my confidence in French. So now I feel really confident speaking in French.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful language, but I always struggled with it. But hey, here we are. You're settled there. You're speaking it. And that's amazing. But with your business, you've got customers worldwide, haven't you?
Yeah. I really love working with people internationally. I think that's the world traveler in me. So I can feel very connected to my fellow Australians, Americans, people in Europe. I really love working with people all over the place. And I've worked with 1 or 2 people in France, but really that's not my sort of core demographic.
I want to ask you a question specific about your situation, because for anyone listening that is, let's say, someone who is just about to become a mom or just have young children, tell me about your journey of becoming a mom as well as running a business. I mean, what did you do that you found that was really helpful for you to combine those two things?
Yeah, I mean, it is a hard balancing act. And I think one of the big things that's been a through line in my business, and one of the sort of core values of my business, is to be family first. My son takes precedence over everything. And I expect and extend that same courtesy to my clients, that their family comes first too. And in sort of the way I operate everything, it's really run under this sort of underlying mission of making space for our lives and our families first. So that's been sort of the premise of the business in many ways. So as I've structured my days and as I structure my client work and my project styles, it all comes from this place of how can I remain available to my son? How can I be supportive of others trying to be available to their children? And really structuring my processes to be quite open and less tied to specific appointments and time, and really trying to keep that flexibility at the core of the business itself.
I love your value of family first. I mean, 2010 was my step out of work life. Because my, at that time, 8-year-old son, we decided to take him out of the education system and educate him at home, because he's diagnosed with autism. And we just needed to be there. And it's, and it often is, you said you were laid off. It's often situations in life that forces people to become entrepreneurs. And for me, it's been the most amazing step. A world has opened up, and I assume that for you as well, that now you work for yourself, you can really put that value of family first. How do you call that? To make it work. Yeah, it's fantastic.
No, it's been really lovely, and I've never held a sort of traditional office job. It's sort of a strange thing to come into this entrepreneurship journey already being used to being the agent of my own work. So that piece felt really familiar, but still shaping how I wanted to function as a business around that was really liberating and really kind of key to making this whole thing work for me. Really.
Absolutely. Thank you. So tell me, who is your ideal customer?
It's basically myself, isn't it? Always basically ourselves that we want to serve. I love working with other mums who are running service-based businesses, whether they're at those very early stages or once they're further along. And I really try and hone in on how I can support women who are in this stage of life where we do need to be really present, and our time is the most valuable thing to us. So everything I offer is really taking that into consideration and positioning time and flexibility front and center.
Great. I want to take a bit of a deep dive into your business. I wrote down a sentence from your website, and it talks about a polished website that helps you scale up your business and scale down your overtime. So tell me a little bit more about what are sort of the ingredients, or what are the things that need to happen to scale up your business and to scale down your overtime?
I think there's obviously lots of pieces that go into scaling a business, but I think the core things for me at least have been to set up processes and systems and to really hone in on a clear customer journey so that all of those marketing efforts are really paying off. And that's where the website can be a huge piece of that puzzle of really integrating clear marketing strategies and well thought through systems to help automate or just streamline a lot of those pieces that, particularly for service providers, can start out as very manual processes and very ad-libbed systems. And I think by building your website and building your whole business, is that sort of automated, streamlined approach can be huge to scaling the business, but also in that second part of that phrase of scaling down all of that overtime of having to manually think through the process every time.
Okay. If you look at your business, can you tell me a bit about how do you attract customers? I mean, what is it that you do that helps your business to attract customers?
Yeah, I mean, I have multiple sort of parts of my marketing strategy. One of the big things that's been paying off for me recently is collaborations. I love working with other people, and I have a very collaborative spirit just naturally. And I found connecting with people, often women, who have the same audience as I do, who want to also serve these mums building their businesses, and building relationships with them has been really huge to bringing in sort of warm leads to my business, people who are already familiar with me and looking for the sorts of services and products that I offer. That's been sort of the biggest breakthrough for me. I've tried all sorts of other things. I do so the typical email marketing and social media and all those bits, but really networking and relationships have been the big piece for me.
Out of everything that you tried, what is the one thing that you would say that didn't work for you, advertising wise?
Yeah, I never quite figured out LinkedIn. I think that's because I've never had a traditional job. You know, I've always worked in sort of creative, unusual fields, and I find it a little bit foreign. So I think it's a foreign language for me in many ways, that environment. I'm still curious about it.
I can relate to that. LinkedIn it's a different platform. It's a different language. It's a different feel. It's very much business to business as well.
Yeah.
So you got to. So partnerships is the thing that works the best for you. So how do you go about finding partners?
I think I'm just very upfront. I ask people pretty openly. I've joined a bunch of groups and I just ask, you know, who would be interested in partnering with me for this sort of thing? Who else is looking to serve these people? And I've had an overwhelming response of people being really excited to collaborate. And I think not being scared to ask has been a big through line in my career in general, but particularly for my business, just to sort of share where I'm at and ask for what I want.
Be bold and not be afraid to ask. I think that is definitely a lesson to take away from this interview. I mean, you shared that story when you were pregnant and you just, you know, with learning French, you just were bold, you just didn't care, you just did, and that was helpful. Yeah.
I'm definitely a take action person. I think action leads to sort of all sorts of wonderful things, and I definitely believe in messy action of trying to just get things going, and you'll figure it out as you go.
So someone comes to you because they are drawn to your personality, your website, your message. Take me through the process that you sort of designed yourself around your business, that you, from the moment a customer comes to you, how do you get them to sign up with you? And once they sign up, give me an overview of what sort of services, in what sort of ways do you help people?
Yeah, so for a while I was trying to hop on discovery calls with people, and I still do that occasionally when it feels like they need a little bit more guidance, but I truly take the sort of consulting hat and try and really give people guidance as they come to me looking for help. Because I have multiple different ways I can work with people, and I'm not I'm not wanting to sort of shove them into the wrong box. So I really do take time up front when anyone sends an inquiry or just gets in touch to feel out what they're looking for, what kinds of problems they have, and help sort of diagnose where they're at, and then share with them sort of how we could work together in the format that I think will fit them best. I really believe in giving people choices, so I do try and always offer some options for people to decide what's going to fit best for them. Then if they've decided to move forwards, there's there's a lot of different steps depending on which offer, but for sort of custom one-on-one work, we do dive in with quite a lot of strategy. I really believe in basing design off of strategic thinking, and in many ways design is just like creative problem solving. We are designing something visual, but ultimately it's to serve a business problem, and I really want to base everything I create for businesses on that. So we start off with quite a lot of strategic thinking. I give them some homework. We jump on 1 or 2 calls for the higher end packages that I offer, and really dive into all of that before I work on their brand, sort of visual branding. We do revisions there. I may help them with copywriting if that's something we've decided to do together. And then with all of those bits and pieces in place, I can lay the foundations for the website and build that out. But I really do believe in taking that sort of strategic step-by-step process through the strategy, the branding, the copywriting, and then the website. And then I really love including training in my offers. I want to empower women to use their own websites, not to be shackled with a designer, that they need to be able to use this tool that we've now created. So that's a really key part of everything I offer, is empowering people with training.
So within what you offer is really kind of the whole package, or at least there is the possibility of the whole package, from the branding to the processes, and the website, the look of the website, and then at the end empowering them. I mean, I think the amount of times years ago when someone built a website for me that I was sort of happy with, but I had no clue how to work it or what to do with it. So I really like the idea that you offer people the opportunity to train and to learn really to use their website. Definitely.
Yeah, that's really important to me. And even if I'm working on something much smaller, I offer like VIP intensives if people need very sort of specific support on tech or one page they need building. Even that includes the training, because it's so key to, and this is one of my other sort of core values as a business, is empowering people to use the tools they've invested in. And ultimately, the tools are the work we do together, and I want to make sure they can use it fully on their own.
I'm really curious. My wife always used to say, when we had, let's say, a website built, she said, I just wish I could have more contact with that person. I just need to talk more. And I think men and women are different, I think men are very practical. Well, I don't want to say practical, or logic, where, let's just go and do it and we'll see what happens. But for women, they need a lot more certainty. They need a lot more, to be part of it. So is that one of the things that you then also offer, is that people can have contact with you in your higher end of packages?
Yeah, and that is honestly one of the big difference between the higher end and the sort of more affordable offers, is how much involvement and contact there is. Because I'm trying to liberate a lot of services from too many calls and time sort of specific things, I do a lot of things asynchronously with chats or sending screen recordings. That's something that I offer at all levels. And then if someone really does want that one-on-one contact, that's where sort of the higher end packages can be a really nice fit.
Man, it sounds amazing, because I did look at your website and I could see that you had, for the real starter, someone that is not used to invest money into their business and it's the starting point, but you also offer that intensive, that high end. So yeah, I think you got a great balance going there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool. If you look at, people start their business sometimes with a purpose. In your case, you wanted your business to work with your values in life. Well, if I would ask Michelle, what is your bigger why in life? I know it's maybe a little bit of a big question, but why does Michelle walk around planet Earth? What's your bigger why with what you do in life?
I love that question. That is the brand strategist in me just smiling. I think I ultimately want to have sort of successful and fulfilling relationships, whether that's with my family, my son, my friends, the people I interact with. I want to be a positive force in the world and really enrich the lives of the people I interact with and I touch. I think relationships are so key to who I am as a person, and what I think I bring as a value is that sort of sense of connection and support and empathy and all those lovely emotional bits and pieces.
I feel we're on a similar line there. If I could say one sentence about me, for me, family is everything.
Yeah,
it's the one thing that we're all stuck with, and we can't escape it. But so my history of work is I'm a specialist at helping families who are at risk of breakdown to get back together again. And I've pivoted now into being a relationship coach for entrepreneurs who feel that due to their entrepreneurial journey, their relationship has come to a place of breaking point. And for me, that is my passion project. Outside of that, we have other businesses, but that is definitely something. So yeah, I relate to what you say there.
Very much so. Man after my own heart.
Michelle, what is it that you do? Because being a mom, a business owner, a wife, and all that shopping in Paris that you have to do. Yes. What do you do to recharge your batteries?
I've always loved film, and I do really find it an immersive experience to watch TV and watch films and enjoy that sort of experience of knowing how things happen. So that's something that I think will always be part of me. I love going for a walk. I live in the most beautiful walkable city, so I take very long strolls. I love walking around Paris here, and it's honestly one of my happy moments every day. We go for at least an hour walk and just wander the streets.
I love that. My happy moment is every morning after dropping off the little one at school. If it's not raining, I live about 2 minutes from the seaside, just to go for a walk along the seafront. And it's just great for the soul and great to start the day right. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. You and I got connected through SPI Pro. Tell me, how is being part of that community? Because it's kind of a special community. It's not like where you go for lots of training. It's really about connecting with other entrepreneurs, and you got to take initiative, which, listening to you is kind of the perfect place for you, because you kind of a go-getter and stuff like that. But how has it been beneficial for you being a part of that community?
Well, I joined because I'm trying to build out some of the passive income pieces of my business, and I felt like I wasn't connecting with the people I wanted to talk about that, to support that. And I really, really enjoyed. I connected with already quite a lot of people in there who are in a similar place in their journey or working with similar people. It's been lovely. I've already got a couple of collaborations out of it, and it's just been, I love finding people who are like-minded and building those relationships. So it's very much my cup of tea.
I know. It's been good for me as well. In the beginning, I was a member at the very beginning, and then I left temporarily because I was more looking for coaching. But then when I started the podcast, I realized that's the great place to connect with people. And so for anyone that wants to learn more about the SPI program, in the show notes, you can find a link whereby you can learn how to apply to join this community. One last question for you. What's the future for Michelle? What's the future for Michelle in business? If I would meet you in 3 years' time, what do you think might be different? What might have happened? What do you hope that might have happened?
I really hope to build out some of the passive income pieces of this business, to really build out resources for women who are in those earlier stages and I think need a different kind of support. I'm launching right now my first digital product. It's a website template kit of everything they need to build a website. And I'd love to build out some more of those and some more different resources for people at that early stage, and then start offering some form of group program or support. Again, I love community, I love people, so I think it's a very natural place to lead to eventually is something in that world, and then keeping the one-on-one services for those people who do really want that higher end contact and more sort of FaceTime with me. So I suspect that's where I'll be.
Good. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know your ideal customer was someone like you.
Mm.
Do you happen also to work with men, or is it so anyone that comes to you, basically?
Yeah, I think if we align in our values,
Yeah.
100%. I don't want to discriminate. And then that was actually something I really struggled with as I was picking my niche, because I wanted for many, many months to call my sort of niche parents. And I heard back from the people I was talking to that they didn't identify that way. And so I've, as a good marketer, taken that on board and used the words that they use to describe themselves, which are mums. But I am really open to working with parents, men, any sort of identifier who have that value of wanting to really shape their businesses around their lives and protect their time and protect their energy while still building something that is a powerful marketing tool. So I think underlying values are really what it's about to see if we're a good fit.
All right. So anyone listening that needs a new website or that is inspired by Michelle here and wants to connect with her, Michelle, tell the listeners, where can they go to connect with you? Where can they go to find out more about the services that you offer?
Well, obviously my website is my favorite place for people to find me. That's michellepontvert.com. I'm also on Instagram at Michelle Pontvert, Pontvert with a T in the middle, so Pontvert.
Yeah.
Always a bit tricky. I'm on Facebook a bit too, maybe not on LinkedIn, but usually my website and Instagram are the easiest places to find me.
All right. Is there anything that you wish that I would have asked you that you still want to share, that you thought, I really want to bring this out in this interview?
I think we covered a lot. I would only say if people are looking for some help right now and want to kind of dive in and work on their websites, I do have a free training that is available anytime. Yeah. Again, time is important for me. So I have a free training on my website that people are welcome to go check out. It's at michellepontvert.com/converts. And that's a training about creating a website that converts whatever it is we're trying to do, whether it's build our email list, get more inquiries, booking calls, whatever it is. There's sort of a training in there that walks through how to restructure your website so that you're reaching those big goals.
I'll put that in the show notes.
Thank you.
To that training. Michelle, thank you so much for your time. And it was lovely to talk to you, to learn about your business. And I do hope, listeners, that you go to her website and go to get that free training and learn about all the things that Michelle has to offer. Michelle, have a great day.
You too. Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Take care.